G'day everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I want to give you guys some LEGO investing tips. Let's talk about it. So this video is going to be targeting all LEGO investors, whether you are new to LEGO investing, whether you are a very experienced LEGO investor and have been doing it for years. Obviously, if you've been doing it for a long time, a lot of these tips you would have already known, but it's just nice to have a bit of a catch up and to get an opinion from someone else and how they do it as well. So the first tip I want to touch on is just storing LEGO sets. So what do I do and what are my tips for it? I like to keep them off the ground, and I usually like to put mine on like a warehouse type shelf. Now, also I will always bubble wrap my sets or leave them in a box to avoid shelfware. Obviously, shelfware is a thing that you can't avoid. It will happen over time, but you can reduce the amount of shelfware. So that's why I like to bubble wrap them or put them in the box that they were shipped in. If you don't have access to this and you are putting them on a shelf, what I would suggest to do is to put something soft down, especially if it's like a steel shelf or a timber shelf, is to put something soft, whether it's a towel or like a bit of felt, just to reduce the amount of shelfware this LEGO set will acquire over time. Another thing I like to do is I won't stack my sets on top of each other, especially if you lay them down flat like this. This is because LEGO sets have the seals, and when LEGO sets are stacked like this on top of each other, over time the weight will push down and the seals will start to expand and start to pop. And I will show you an example of this right now on what it does look like. So we want to avoid this. So that is another thing I do avoid. I like to stand them up, and I will rotate them every couple of months, because if you do stand a LEGO set up upright, all the pieces are going to be down at the bottom and it can actually bulge the box itself. So every couple of months I will go in and I will rotate all of my sets to avoid that bulging. That is maybe something you mightn't even think of. And another thing I wanted to talk about with storing is just avoid obviously smoking areas, avoid storing them near pets, and always try to keep them in a dry area. Another tip is I always say only spend what you can afford. Don't overdo it. Always have a budget, because you don't want to be left with no money just in case if you dropped all of your money on one set and it doesn't perform well, or it does get extended and you're left with that set. So always spend what you can afford, have a budget, and don't overdo it. Another tip that is probably the golden rule of LEGO investing actually is always buy at a discount. Now, sometimes you may not be able to buy a discount, especially on those LEGO exclusive sets, the sets that are only available on like the LEGO website and the LEGO stores, obviously in person. They are very hard to get a LEGO discount on, but that's why we utilize the gift with purchases, especially for those sets. But you always want to be paying, I always aim for 20% off. 20% off is what I aim for. But obviously sometimes you can't get that, but you want to do a lot of research and always aim for 20% off at minimum and utilize those gift with purchases to bring that cost down. Another tip I want to share is like shop memberships. So things like your LEGO VIP. Every time you spend so much money at the LEGO store, you will get VIP points, and you can redeem those points for further discounts down the track. Another thing is your retailer store membership. So here in Australia, things like Big W, Target, Kmart, Myer all have their memberships like Flybuys, Everyday Rewards, and Myer One, which every time you spend a certain amount, you get so many points. You can then use that point system to get further discounts on LEGO sets down the track as well, saving you more money. Another thing I always utilize is like things like Honey and Coupit, which if you do install that onto your web browser and you do go to like a checkout of a website buying LEGO, it does scan for any coupons which may come up. So you might end up finding that there might be like a 5% off coupon that you didn't know about that Honey or Coupit can also find. And another thing is using Shopback. Now, Shopback is an app you can download, you can sign up. I'll throw my code up on the screen as well. So if you do sign up, use that code and you will get $20 after your first purchase as well. So what Shopback does is you spend so much and it will give you a certain percentage of your money back over a certain amount of time. It does take a little while, but eventually it will come back. So you might be able to save an extra maybe like 2 or 3% on your LEGO investment as well, and it does work through the LEGO store and Target and the likes of Big W and stuff like that. So I use that on all of my purchases. And the last thing I just want to touch on is when to buy LEGO sets. When do I buy them? I will always buy at the end of retirement. I won't buy a set when it just comes out. If I want to maybe build the set, obviously, but if I'm looking to invest, I will always buy at the end of retirement. So if a set is scheduled to retire at the end of the year, so let's just take the Lego Sesame Street for example, which is scheduled to retire at the end of this year, I will start to purchase this set probably towards the Q3, Q4 of the year. That way I'm not holding on to this set for a long time before it retires and it starts to appreciate in value. So if I was to have purchased this set when it first came out back in 2020, I've been holding on to it for about 18 months now. And that's just money that has been sitting on the shelf, not appreciating, it hasn't been doing anything. So I want to avoid that. So I always buy sets right towards the end of the runtime. So an example of this would be Barracuda Bay. That has just retired at the beginning of this year, end of last year, and I purchased 3 in November. So I held on to them for about 1 month before they retired, and they've already started to appreciating in value. So I'll always buy at the end of retirement as far as I can. And you want to avoid the fear of missing out. It is scary. You don't want to be missing out on a set, but you don't want to be buying too early either. So those were just a few of my tips for Lego investing. Obviously, if I come up with some more, I will make a part 2 for this video as well. But if you did learn something, leave your thoughts down below. And obviously, if you do have some other tips and advice for everyone else, please leave them down below. And I have created a Facebook group, which I will leave for a link down below, which is just Tim's Bricks and Cards, Lego and Pokemon cards. Discussion. So this is just a group that we'll use to obviously discuss investments, reviews, and all that type of stuff, and just help each other out and give each other some advice. So join that. Obviously, it doesn't cost anything to join. Just go in there, and it is a public group, so you can join without me having to review or do any of that stuff and answer the questions like some do. But anyway, if you did like the video, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.